The British Empire built its greatest monuments out of paper. At the British Library, you'll see some of the many documents, literary, historical, and musical, that changed the course of history. Hi, I'm Rick Steves. Thanks for joining me on a guided walk through the best collection anywhere of old books, maps, scriptures, and historical letters. These National Archives of Britain include more than 12 million books, 180 miles of shelving, and the deepest basement in London. This naked Newton symbolizes the library's purpose to gather all knowledge and promote our endless search for truth. The massive building fills 180 miles of shelving with over 12 million books. The extensive reading rooms where scholars do research are upstairs and not open to the general public. For sightseers, only one room matters, the treasures room.
Enter the treasures room and let your eyes adjust. This priceless collection is all in one large, dimly lit room.
Sorry, Lisa, I didn't see you there. You're right, it is dim. Question: how did Britain, a tiny island with just a few million people, come to rule a quarter of the world? Not by force, but by rule of law. The Magna Carta was the basis for England's system of law and constitutional government. Until then, kings had ruled by God-given authority, above the laws of men. Now, for the first time, there were limits in writing on how a king could treat his subjects. More generally, it reaffirmed the right of habeas corpus, the notion that a government cannot imprison someone without a legitimate legal reason. This small step became the basis for all constitutional governments since then, including ours. Jesus didn't speak English, of course, nor did Moses or Isaiah or Paul or any other Bible authors or characters. Jesus spoke Aramaic, a form of Hebrew. His words were written down in Greek decades after Jesus' death. Then, various Greek manuscripts were compiled into anthologies like the Codex Sinaiticus. These were then translated into Latin, the language of medieval monks and scholars. Greek and Latin manuscripts were later translated into English. Early Gospels on papyrus. The first complete New Testament, written in Greek from the 4th century. And the Gutenberg Bible from 1455. Ponder the evolution of maps. In 1350. Among the documents here, you might find some by trailblazing early scientists like Leonardo da Vinci, Galileo, or Isaac Newton. Pages from Leonardo's notebook show this powerful curiosity, his genius for invention, and his famous backward and inside-out handwriting, which makes sense only if you know Italian and have a mirror. This may be a bit ethnocentric, but I believe William Shakespeare is the greatest author in any language, period. Think of his great stock of characters and memorable lines. Brooding Hamlet.
To be or not to be, that is the question.
Tragic Julius Caesar.
Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears.
Rowdy Falstaff.
The better part of valor is discretion.
And the star-crossed lovers Romeo and Juliet.
But soft, what light through yonder window breaks.
A Beethoven work tracing his stormy creative process. And
you say goodbye, and I say hello.
Future generations will have to judge whether the musical quartet The Beatles ranks musically with artists such as Handel and Chopin. But no one can deny their historical significance. Look for photos of John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr before and after their fame. The rock band burst onto the scene in the early 1960s to unheard-of popularity. With their long hair and loud music, they brought counterculture and revolutionary ideas to the middle class, affecting the values of an entire generation. Among the displays, you'll find the manuscripts of song lyrics written by Lennon and McCartney, the two guiding lights of the group. The Beatles' memorabilia hangs alongside manuscripts by Mozart, Beethoven, Schubert, and others. Kind of an anticlimax after the Fab Four, I know.
You say goodbye, and I say hello.
Find George Frederic Handel's famous oratorio, The Messiah. It was written in a flash of inspiration, 3 glorious hours of music in 24 days. The manuscript on display contains the final bars of its most famous tune. Hallelujah! And that's also a fitting end to our walk from Bibles to Beowulf to Beatles through the British Library.